on, so we can get the mastery we need, absolute mastery over everything in the world. Then it will be paradise. Then we'll have that everlasting future of richness, grandeur, enlightenment, and unimaginable accomplishment that the story promises us. This is the story as we learn it. It's ambient in our culture. It's something everyone takes for granted. It's a basic cultural understanding worldwide, which is no great wonder. It's the story of mankind as told by Homo magister, man the ruler, man the master, born in the birth of agriculture. Wherever Homo magister rules, that's the way the story is told, because that's the way Homo magister sees it. But it's not the only way. As Homo magister tells it, the story of mankind is really a story about him. He's the hero of the story. That's easy to see. In his telling of it, the action only begins when he arrives on the scene. In the 3 million years before that, nothing was happening. And indeed, nothing was happening, so far as Homo magister can see. He looks at those 3 million years and sees a vacancy, because people weren't mastering anything. And according to Homo magister, that's what human life is all about. For all that time, people were just waiting to evolve into Homo magister. If it hadn't been for Homo magister, people would have gone on doing nothing, getting nowhere. Homo magister saved the human race from nothingness. It's true, on the other hand, that if it hadn't been for the arrival of Homo magister, millions of people wouldn't be starving today. The earth wouldn't be a cesspool of human wastes. We wouldn't have the capability of destroying the planet at the push of a button. We wouldn't be on the edge of extinction. But we'd still be shitting in the bushes. You wouldn't like that, would you? No bathrooms, no electric blankets, no television, no governments, no churches, no museums, no theaters, no penitentiaries, no schools, no nothing. It's silly to think about anyway. Man had to become Homo magister. It was man's destiny to become Homo magister. Wasn't it? Well, wasn't it? What else could he have become? He had to enact this story, because there was no other story to enact. And he has to go on enacting this story, because there is no other story to enact. This is how Homo magister tells the story, because this is the way he sees it. As told by Homo magister, he is the climax of the human story. He is the final product of human evolution. Man may become taller, stronger, or brainier, but he will always be Homo magister. It is man's ultimate form. Even if Homo magister topples the ecological balance of the earth, a few will survive, and Homo magister will rise from the ashes to do it all over again. Even if Homo magister engulfs the world in a nuclear holocaust, a few will survive. That's why we have bomb shelters, so Homo magister can rise from the ashes to do it all over again. Because man was divinely appointed to rule the earth. It's God's problem, really. He made us this way. He made us to rule the world. It's up to Him to save us. This is the story Homo Magister tells about the lifetime of man. It's the story we're enacting. It's the story that's killing us. A few hundred years ago, Homo Magister had a story he told about the arrangement of the universe. It was a wonderful story, and he was very fond of it. He'd been telling it to himself for more than 1,000 years. It had the simplicity of a self-evident truth. The planet Earth is the center of the universe. Everything in the universe revolves around man's home. Sun, planets, stars, the works. It has to be that way because man is the center of the universe. God made the whole thing for man, so obviously He put man in the center of it. Astronomically speaking, the story didn't work out too well. It was hard to reconcile actual observations with it. But the astronomers did their best because they too were Homo Magister. They knew that man belonged in the center of the universe. Then a madman by the name of Copernicus came along with another story, a story that made sense of the actual celestial observations. He said that the Earth isn't in the center of the universe. It isn't even in the center of the solar system. It revolves around the sun. The sun is the center of the solar system. Homo Magister was outraged by this new story. He would have burned the heretic at the stake if he could have, but Copernicus was already safely in the ground. The next generation of astronomers worked hard to show that the Copernican story was false, but all their observations showed that the Copernican story was nearer the truth than the old Ptolemaic story. Reluctantly, Homo Magister was forced to accept the new story. He pretty much had to because the astronomers were members in good standing of Homo Magister. If they'd been Red Indians, Homo Magister would have laughed his head off and gone on thinking that the Earth was the center of the universe. The displacement of the Earth as the center of the universe was a blow to the pride of Homo Magister. But in the end, it saved him from making a fool of himself when he decided to visit the moon. If he had still believed that the sun revolves around the Earth, he would have gotten lost. Homo Magister had lost the Ptolemaic story that placed him at the center of the universe. This was a disagreeable shock, but he had another story to fall back on, a story even older and more venerable than the Ptolemaic story. In a way, it was even better. It placed him at the center of creation. When God had set out to create the universe, He hadn't just been killing time. He was creating the universe so that He could create something else. He had to create suns and moons and stars and planets. He had to create the Earth. He had to put air around it and water in the seas and rivers. He had to create a complete biological community to live in it, from earwigs to elephants. All this had to be done so He could create man. The universe was the home of the planet Earth, and the Earth was the home of man, complete down to the last detail, ready to move into. It was a turnkey project. When man's home was all ready for him, God made man. Naturally, having gone to all this trouble to get man's home ready for its master, God made man so that